Okay, up next, I have David Lowenberg, who, if you recall last week, I had to pass him over, so I am leaving plenty of time for him today. Are you out there, Dave?
Yes, I am.
All right, live from Egypt.
Well, there is a story with that. I am here to speak to you about the N2N program. So first, I just want to say it's great being here with all of you and our guests and Chief Case as our special guest. You know, many of us often say when a year is over that it passed quickly and we don't know where it went. I'm not so sure that many of us would be saying that about this past year. This time in 2020, Janice and I were in Egypt. So we were on a tour, and you see the Pharaoh Ramses behind me, and that was one of the pictures we took. So I thought it'd be appropriate for a background. And when we came home in early March, obviously there was the beginning of this word of this pandemic. We were starting to hear about it. And so, you know, it's about a year ago from now that it started to get attention. Today, there are 727 of our residents who have reported having the virus. And obviously that's growing. If I may, the silver lining in that is when I look across the county of San Diego and you look at the incidence per 100,000 people, we are the lowest in the incorporated city areas as well as the unincorporated. We are the lowest, but obviously still all of us can feel the adversity of its misery and still do. So I'm wanting to give a history briefly of N2N, neighbor to neighbor, and also a status, and actually a little insight into future. So let me give you a backdrop. And that is that when the virus was first talked about, this community, as with any challenge, stands up and confronts what we have to address. I believe we do that because we care about the welfare of others. This is a great place where we all know to live, and volunteerism is just part of our lives for the majority in Coronado. And so early March, there were groups and individuals who were coming forward and saying, I'm here to help. I want to see what I could do to assist neighbors, what information to share. And what some of us recognized is this effort by many created some confusion. There was some duplicative efforts. And we felt that this virus was certainly going to be with us for some time. I'll underscore that point. I see this as more than, you know, this torrential storm, because the storm suggests that it's here, even the ugly winter that's taking place this past week. It's not going to be here long term, but we knew that the virus was going to be with us for a good period. So it's more than just a storm. And realizing that one wanted to help, and there were many out there who were stepping forward, what we felt is there was a need to organize. That's the statement about what started N2N, neighbor to neighbor, is an appreciation that we needed to organize, all of us who wanted to volunteer, all of us who wanted to assist. Tammy Sankey was president then and clearly supported us moving forward, realizing that if we could create a united front, not just of Rotary, but of other groups and individuals in the community, that we would strengthen our resolve to deal with the devastation that the virus was going to present. So we had a call for action, several strong voices coming together to organize a community. We, within a week, partnered with the city of Coronado under Kelly Purvis and Blair's blessing to see what we could do together, and created a foundation in which really we were looking for a neighbor to neighbor volunteer network. That's the core of what N2N is. We don't leap tall buildings in a single bound. It's really straightforward, but we think it's needed and hopefully helpful. Many of us on this call are involved in N2N. So our mission, straightforward, is to provide information on education for the virus. It's to provide program information, referral, and it's to be done at a neighbor-to-neighbor level. That's the essence of what we are, to keep in touch with our neighbors, to provide information, and that is how we started, and that is who we are today. The neighbor-to-neighbor consists of 3 pillars. So there's 3 pillars that make up this neighbor-to-neighbor effort under N2N. The first is we're looking to create block captains. We wanted to be at the neighborhood level. We were looking at block captains. We divided the city into four areas. One was the village, the most populated area, the Cays, the shores, and the military housing. And so we have representatives who lead those areas and help us define volunteers at the block level to work with their neighbors. I'm going to highlight Amy and Daniel Stewart because they had early on took on, I think, the biggest challenge, and that was the village. They divided that community into 160 something blocks and aggressively looked at finding volunteers to be block captains. Many of you on this phone are block captains. And to go out and obtain the name, the emails, the mobile phone numbers of our neighbors so that we could stay in touch. And the neighbors, of course, could decide if they wanted to be part of this. We also provided them a conduit to obtain information from the city that they could access in terms of emails. So that effort was the core of what we are. It's the neighbor-to-neighbor, block captains, 4 areas, covers citywide. That's one. The second was to have support, referral agencies available to work with us. And we wanted to have the network of the key constituent groups that made up this second pillar. I want to highlight a couple of the key ones. We had Brian Trottier, who's not a Rotarian, but took the responsibility to develop a cadre of volunteers. Volunteers who would go grocery shopping and bring home to the neighbors who were homebound, many who could not get out, take individuals to the doctor's office, and also just stay in touch. So Brian, even today, has the volunteers and network, and he is the traffic cop who takes the referrals and asks volunteers to respond. He's an example of that second level of referral. Ivan Dunn, and I see Ivan on the call here, accepted responsibility for the interfaith organizations, the churches, synagogues, the different faiths, and to keep in touch with them in terms of what's going on, what information they need, how they could help. And Ivan continues to this day to be our liaison with them. Just a couple of others in terms of those referrals. We have Georgia Farrell from Focus, because I will tell you that, I'm sorry, SAFE, from SAFE, because the children, the kids, the parents, the families, listen, there's a lot of additional trauma going on in many of our families. Workers being furloughed, the kids trying to learn from home, a lot of pressure. So SAFE is really taking the lead in helping through Georgia to assist there. And the last one I want to mention in this second pillar is our Sharp Coronado Hospital, which has done a great job and continues to, and also helping. And Susan Stone there has been willing to recently participate and join us with the hospital as part of a steering committee. So we have a steering committee that we meet at this time monthly. In the beginning, we met weekly to go over what information we need to get out, where can we fill the gaps for additional services, and that will continue. So there's 3 pillars. So what's the third? The third is the city. the city of Coronado, which was with us from the beginning and plays a major role in providing information out to our community and continue to support where the needs are to help us get through these trying times. So they are a big contributor to our efforts to serve this community. And with that, I'm going to now move more to, so what's the future? As we continue to do what, in essence, our services and information dissemination today, is that the city has asked that this structure continue to stay alive. So that if we, God forbid, have emergencies in the future, post-COVID, and I'm here to promise that there is going to be a post-COVID, that, you know, we are here to provide that information, to be the liaison between our government and the neighbors, if there needs to be information out quickly or an alert of some situation that we all need to be aware of. So the N2N will continue, and to be part of this community and to support. I want to end by just highlighting that in addition to some of the people that I've mentioned, there are a few others that I would just like to recognize. One is Ginger, because she has done so much in terms of helping with our own Rotarians for keeping in contact. And so, Ms. Cox, I just, you know, you deserve to be recognized. And then there's a couple of others here on this call who are part of the steering committee, Kit Williams, Sharon Raffer, and my wife, Janice. So we're working to continue to support, provide information, help those in need, and we're not going to stop because I believe that's who we are as Coronado.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, you're right in coming in, Robin, because I'm ending there to say that I think we all see a little bit of that light at the end of that tunnel in terms of getting out of this. It's still going to, you know, be with us for some time, but boy, we're turning that corner, and I welcome, like the rest of you, a return to normalcy, which I think before the end of this year, I'm believing we will be in good stead to see.
Well,
so thank you.
I pray for your optimism, David, and I thank you so much on behalf of this club and the entire community for you sparking that idea and you know, really getting a movement going. So to all of you that have worked on the N2N, this community is in you know, a big debt to you. So thank you, David.